Let's talk some toys in here.
Hey, what's up everyone today? It's the Man-Child. Alright, so today for review, going to take a look at the new Masters Universe Origins Stranger Things 2-pack, Series 2. So, this is a Target exclusive. There was already a Stranger Things 2-pack out. That was Series 1. It was also a Target exclusive. That one had the Demogorgon Skeletor. So now we get Vecna and another He-Man. I think it's really cool to get a Vecna. It looks just, from what I can see through the window, he looks, really neat with the armor and accessories, stuff like that. But what's interesting is, of course, once again, we get another He-Man. But what I like with this time with this He-Man, just like the Skeletor in the first pack, sort of has, I want to say, kind of vintage tones or inspired colors a little bit. As far as the skin and maybe the armor, looks like they painted the bracers and belt. Now it's gold. Originally, I think the vintage one was orange. Things like that. He has some white in the eyes now. The hair tones are a lot darker. But he looks like a much darker, serious He-Man. I think I like that, to have a main He-Man in the Origins line, just like that Skeletor in the other packs. That's pretty cool. And of course, now you get the box just like the first one. It's the upside down, right? Going back to the upside down world of Stranger Things. And so yeah, He-Man side, you can see Eternia in the background with the art. You can see through the window. You have the exploding rocks, the Master Universe logo. And then when you flip it over, right, there's Vecna, the Stranger Things part. Get all the organic, the roots or the fleshy vines that you've seen in the show. Yeah, some really cool accessories, and then same thing when you art in the background, it's like the art from the Upside Down. But really cool pack. I mean, I thought the first one was good. This one I like a little better because we get that vintage-inspired He-Man. I'm gonna call it tones anyway in him, and the Vecna, which looks really cool, really like just creepy. And here's a quick look at the art on the back of the box. Man, look at that art. That is really cool for a Stranger Things crossover, or Eternia crossing over to the Upside Down, or whatever's going on. Well, yeah, we have our new He-Man, or He-Man's vintage style colors with this newer, it's like a demon shield or something, fighting Vecna. Got all the vines, raising them up. You can see, here we have Castle Grayskull in the background. And check this out. There's Battle Cat fighting the Demogorgon, like getting ready to attack in the crouching mode. And here's a quick look at the bio. You want to pause and read that. And then here's some illustrations of just the weapons or the action features with both figures. So it just says put power sword or staff of time into hand. So that's going to be for Vecna. And then, of course, they can twist into powerful battle positions. Here's a look at the art on the right-hand side of the box. Looking from the window of He-Man on the Eternia side. Action hand. Looks like he's cutting through some of those vines and, the organic matter and the Upside Down world. We can see Castle Grayskull in the very back of him. And here's the other piece of art on the other side of the box. Of course, of Vecna. But if you want to see him right side up, you got to flip the box over opposite from the He-Man art on the other side of the box. Okay, and before we go over the figures, here's a quick look at that art that's inside the box, or better look at it because we can only see it from the two windows. Pretty cool diorama piece, or just a piece of inner box art. All right, we can see the Upside Down world here. The fire and the roots and everything coming up, and it's merging with Eternia. Pretty neat. So I'm just going to bring in the He-Man real quick, and you want to set a figure up. Again, He-Man, for example, which mine doesn't really want to stand. There you go. Kind of look like that as far as size and height. And here's a quick look around with all the figures and accessories you get in this box set. Okay, so taking a closer look at the figures. First up, right, let's take a look at He-Man. Just a typical Origins He-Man, nothing different. And I'm just going to bring the first, or this was a second release one or something like that, from the Origins. Quick comparison. So, everything's the same as far as aesthetically. Even the heads as far as a haircut. All the armor, all that good stuff. But this one looks a little different, obviously, because of the paint tones. This is interesting. It's fun to have this He-Man. I like the orange and the bracers because that's just nostalgia. I believe that's how the vintage figure looked like from what I remember as a kid. Now, this one is interesting to me again because of the paint tones. I want to say it's kind of vintage inspired with the primary color of the skin. I think anyway. That's what it reminds me of. I like it. It's a darker tone. It's like going into like the Dark Horse comics or something like that, and the way you see those characters painted, or He-Man, just those color tones. Where this is very colorful for kids, and that was the whole idea of it when the Origins line first came out a few years ago. Anyway. So here's a quick, just close-up look at the head sculpt. Again, same exact head sculpt, but the paint makes it look different compared to this one. I like the darker tone in the hair. Now it has a little bit of white in the eyes. It's always pretty cool. Certain angles, it looks like he's looking up, but he's not. It's just the way the eyelids are on top of the eyes, so it's not bad. See the teeth painted, right? As far as the articulation, nothing new, up, down, all that good stuff. I'm not going to go crazy with all of this. Here's a look at the back of the hair. So I like that instead of super blonde, yeah, bleach looking hair. Which actually sometimes a lot of my He-Man figures in the Origins, I take a dark gold marker and I put highlights. I like kind of blend it in. I didn't do it with this one, but I did that with a lot of my figures where the hair is like overly bright. Anyway, so I like the paint on the face of this figure, right? So again, we're focusing on the tones of the skin. It doesn't look like it has a wash to me, but as we move down to the body, so again, all similar paint tones of that color. I like it, but it has a lot of wash all over it. Dark. See it. It's all over the arms, the body, the back, the legs, everywhere. I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on that because it really ruins the... I think I would rather just one color. A little bit's not bad, but just some of the areas are really heavy. Or even if they took a combination of this wash and the skin tone and blended it, but more on the lighter side like the skin tone, I think that would have been better. I don't know if it's a battle damage or sunburn or something, you know, the two Eternian and the Upside Down merging and the Hellfire and all the things you've seen in the art. And he's scored with charred, burn, yeah, whatever, burns, we'll call it battle damage. I don't know what it's supposed to represent, but one of those things. Yeah, I think I could do without it. It's not terrible. Anyway, so, all right, let's move on from that. And all the articulation, I'll go over this. Everything's the same. Bend up at the elbow, other arm, all that good stuff. But let me test it out on my figure because, yeah, the leg was already extremely loose and it still is. I actually fixed this one with this nail polish gel. That's what I used to strengthen joints. And I had to do it on Vecna as well, which I'll show when I bring them in soon. All right, spin at the waist, all good stuff. Articulation with the legs. Now, all right, so wrist bracers, everything the same. All right, same sculpt, but they're gold now. The belt's gold. Loincloth is a darker brown color. That's kind of cool. It's unique. Again, I don't know. Maybe for nostalgia, the orange colors, but we're doing something different here. It's okay. I really like the color on the cross armor. It's a metallic blue color. So again, let me bring this figure in. I'm going to jump back and forth here. This is that flat, plasticky, cheap-looking gray. You know, it's fun when it first came out, but I like this better because it's a combination of the blue and gray mix, but metallic. You know, going back to something between the animation and a vintage figure, what it reminds me of, or this. You know, the cross and all these, the square the plates up top, darker red color, neat. Here's the back. Now, yeah, mine is, you have the classic sword holder, no different than this, or can hold the axe. Mine's crushed, but it's not, it's soft, so, you know, see, you can fix it. All right, we already talked about that. The legs, moving down, okay. It's just, everything, the articulation is all the same. Again, this knee's all messed up. I got to fix that. This one's better. Has the same exact boots, but again, they're just colored different or casted different. All right, so compared to this one, that's the difference. You know, I'm not going to call it all out. And he has his typical two, the gripping hands where this one had the open shield hand, so you have two gripping hands for the weapons, which is cool. Spin, going in and out, hinge joints. And before we take a closer look at He-Man's accessories or weapons, I just wanted to remove the armor, cross armor off the main body, just to give you a better look at the this overall wash and the colors. I mean, aesthetically, it's no different than any other Origins He-Man or Skeletor body. So it's kind of a quick look at that, right? Again, it comes apart, so I took them apart to break the armor off. Most people are familiar with that. Here's a look at the armor off the body. Again, most people should know how this clips and pushes in, just like the other He-Man, nothing different. So, taking a look at He-Man's new weapons and accessories. Of course, he comes with the typical Origin-style axe that many of the other He-Man figures, you know, come with. But it's not molded in that flat plastic cheap colors I already mentioned. On the other He-Man I brought in, it's, you know, casted in it or painted in a metallic blue with silver color to match the armor, which I like this a lot better. It's really cool. Same thing comes with a full power sword that's also cast in the same color. I like it. I think the most impressive accessory, aside those two weapons recasted or painted, is this what they're calling the Hellfire Club inspired Demon Shield. Look at that. That's a wild looking accessory. So you got it looks like a whole new shield too. It's not the typical He-Man shield just because of the sculpt. You can just see it all around. Even the back of it looks heavy duty. I mean, you have the typical hand grip and then the snap-on piece that goes on a forearm, but Yeah, it looks new to me. I don't think I've seen this in Origins. Look at that head though, the demon head. Wow, that's really cool. Now I don't know if does it come off? Yeah, it looks like it might. Mine's glued on, but it is, so the horns are kind of, yeah, their own sculpt, painted. Right, you see the overall face. It is a separate piece snapped on her shield. I don't know if it's meant to come off and be used as accessory maybe. It looks like it might be, or it's pegged in. I don't know, mine's not exactly coming off, but if you want to take it off, you can. But that's really cool looking. So once again, take a look at He-Man. I have him all armed up with all of his accessories, right? Got the demon shield in the left hand for now, and a full power sword in the right. And I just threw the axe in the back of that little holder, even though it's cross show, it works. And then, of course, you pull that out, right? Just try to the sword back there. Still works, no problem. We could put the axe in this hand, or you could put the shield in this hand, the axe in that one. I'm right-handed, so I always, in my brain, I'm always trained to put the weapons in the right hand, most of these figures, if anybody's ever wondering. So there's a quick look at that setup. That's a pretty good loadout for He-Man. Okay, so before we move on to Vecna, I just realized that, yeah, the shield is kind of set up for the left hand. I mean, you could put it in the right, but then this demon head would be upside down. And again, if you pull this off, what it seems to me you can, it's like sculpted to where the horns fit, see it like in those grooves on this part of the shield, and then the chin would fit inside that slot. So if you were to break this off, turn upside down, it's not going to work right in front of the shield from what I can see. So anyway, it's designed for the left hand. Just thought I'd point that out. Or you put it on that, it's upside down. Or maybe you could put it on the inside too, I guess. No, that wouldn't make sense. Anyway, then the other thing, this might be interesting to some people. I've showed this before because I get in the comments about loose joints and all that good stuff. So I already fixed one of these joints, but this is how I fix loose joints. This is just clear top coat nail polish. You can get it on Amazon or eBay or whatever. It doesn't matter what brand. It is excellent for tightening up joints. Right? Just put them back in a knee joint in this case. Or weapons in hand. You just work the leg a little bit back and forth. You let it sit for 10 or 20 minutes. And that leg will be like solid. Will hardly move. And if it does, you just apply some more. Tightens it right up. I just kind of want to show that how I tighten up the figures and how I'm going to fix this He-Man. As I already did it to this inside knee. And I already did to Vecna as well. So finally, moving on to Vecna, the most impressive looking figure in the packaging. At least that's the one I wanted the most. Not that the He-Man wasn't cool with the new colors and stuff, but yeah, let's take a closer look at him now. So, wow, look at that head sculpt, face, really creepy looking. That's what I like about this figure. It just does something different for the Origins line. These pieces come right off. Let's get them out of the way. Already fallen off. So, yeah, really Stranger Things looking upside down world head and face, right? Same way this character was metamorphosized into this particular Vecna. So he was, I think Henry Creel was a character, if I remember from the show. And that's who, you know, that's who Vecna is. So as far as the articulation with the head, you can't really do too much. You can go, let's see, left, yeah, right, and let's see, down and back. Can't do a lot because these tendrils, little roots, tentacle things coming out of his head there. As you can, or the back of the head around, it just catches the neck and the armor. There's a look at the back. But cool colors, very, you know, organic looking, very, again, what the upside down world was and how everything just turned into all this massive, mutated looking, fleshy tones or something. Now, the eyes are interesting. It's like the eyes are, I want to say they're scorned or burnt maybe. You can see some reds. You can see the pain in there. Maybe that's supposed to symbolize that he's going to try to use his, has to rely on his telekinetic powers, right, instead of seeing. Because I think that's what Henry Creel, that was his ability before he turned into Vecna. I might be off a little bit on the show, but I don't remember when I seen what episodes I've seen of that show. So yeah, it's pretty much the head sculpt. Does what it has to do. Side minimal articulation. All right, moving down. Let's check out that chest armor. Wow, that's pretty cool. So, overall, the main rooted chest armor and these rooted chest, you know, the bicep and shoulder armor pieces, the back, the whole deal. It looks like the same armor they use for the mutated Mossman of Turtles Grayskull line. So I'm just going to bring him in real quick, right? You can kind of see that. I mean, side to head and all the wacky things that come with this. Mossman, he had a bone piece that locked into the chest. I don't know if that was supposed to be battle bones or something like that, what that was supposed to represent, but you can see that side the colors. So going back to Vecna, now he has this big spider on the chest, and I think that was supposed to represent the spider monster in the shell, I want to say. And what's interesting with that, check it out, you can unplug. So there's a better look at that armor, right, without this plugged in. So this can be his own accessory. Creepy spider, check that out. That's neat. All right. And so once again, I'm just going to plug it in for now because I'm just going to leave it on the chest. There's just little tabs how it plugs in. Or no, actually, let's leave it off. That's better. Just take a better look at the armor. You can see the bones, everything, all the root. If you're not, just the whole setup. If you're not familiar with that Moss Man I just brought in, right back. So let's leave the armor on at the moment. Here's these arm pieces. We already mentioned. Now, as far as the articulation with these on. Again, and nothing gets hindered with the spider piece that I can see because they only spin at the waist. You can go up, down, right? Go forward, back. Straighten the arm all the way out. Bend pretty close to the face. Now, it's pretty much a Beastman body for the most part and Beastman arms. He has, you can see the wrist bracers. Again, Beastman arms are painted gold. And on the right hand, he has a regular... All right, it's a Beastman. Yeah, it's a hand from Beastman because you can see that little claw weapon. It's supposed to be on the outside of the hand. It doesn't do nothing, but it's sculpted in there, and the hand can spin, go in and out. Right, so it's a gripping hand. And then you go to the left side, it's kind of all the same except for he has a larger hand now that can spin, go in and out. So it's the same hand that Moss Man came with and the Demogorgon. So. Spinning him around, let's remove the armor now. So let's see, it's okay, so it breaks like this, all right, and then so to remove the armor, we're going to pop the head off, and then we can pull the armor off the body, and we got to break the figure in half. Of course, here's a closer look at that armor off the body, all right, you can see how flexible it is. So I'm going to plug this spider piece back on, right, there's a top and a bottom, you can see a larger and smaller the plugs. All right, so yeah, obviously I put it back on. I had to mess with it off camera, it wasn't. You can see how those little tabs push through, and you got to kind of line it up, and then there's an upper tab that also has to push through, and if it doesn't, once you keep popping off, it's kind of like once you disturb it, it's get ready to mess around with it to put it back on. So the other thing too, I'm kind of jumping around here. Here's the arms, right? I already obviously removed them off the body, right, left and right side. And now these pieces too, if you want to remove them, you can see they have like a band around the inside of the bicep. It looks like. Let me see how these come off. I guess they must pull up over the shoulders. All right, so again, it's another thing I have to mess with off camera. So let me remove those, and we'll take a closer look at that setup. And of course, I removed those root shoulder arm guards off the biceps. Yeah, they were difficult to get off. You had to heat them up, so it just took some time, but they came off. So they both look like, and they're identical. Doesn't matter what arm you want to put them on if you want to reinstall them. Once again, take another look at Vecna, but of course, with all the armor pieces removed off the body. So we could get a closer look at everything. Just, again, Beastman buck, Beastman arms, Beastman hand, but this is the new hand, right? Stranger Things hands, we'll call it. I think they use the Turtles Grayskull, too, with certain figures. And then we're moving back down to finish up the articulation with the legs. So he just has regular He-Man style legs, it looks like. Or maybe Beastman legs, because you can see on the ankle here some fur. So they're Beastman legs. You can go out with a split as far as articulation. Kick forward, go back, bend at the knee, spin at the knee. And then going down, he has buzz-off clawful style boots now. Right, you can spin at the boot. Remove the boot if you wanted to. And then with the big buzz-off feet, clawful feet, right? You can go up and down or rock side to side. Now, I'm surprised they didn't give him an extension piece like they did with the Demogorgon. Make him taller. So he's just that regular Beastman, He-Man height, pretty much. And I also had to apply that gel, as I already mentioned, to tighten up the knees, and I think it was on his foot, because his articulation was really bad. Now it's a lot better. So again, that's how I tightened it up. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as Vecna is without the armor on. Alright, so once again, I have Vecna all set back up with his armor, and then the last accessory as far as the armor parts is the root tentacles. So, yeah, it's the same ones I already mentioned that the mutated Moss Man come with. But this is cast in a darker brown color. Again, it looks more just creepy going back to those roots instead of glowing green. And taking a look at the back of the armor. So they just clip on like this or push into the pegs. It doesn't matter which way you want to put them. Like you could put this one on this side or you could put it facing up. Either way works. I think it looks better this way. Maybe meant to go this way because the longer part trails down, helps him well, I wouldn't say helps balance, but all right, that looks better to me. I think that's the way it's supposed to go. But it doesn't matter. I'm just going to put him on this way for now. And there's a quick look at that setup. Of course, Vecna's facing forward. So once these are on, the way I put them on anyways I showed, yeah, now they can articulate all over the place, right, which is pretty cool. Would have been neat if these are rubber with bendy wires or something like that, and you can bend these forward and all around, like, just replicate them more like tentacles. That's a neat design. I think that would have been a little better, but for what it is, that's pretty much how they work. And looking at the back of them, that's how they articulate, move up and down. If you don't want them on, again, you can just take them off, but I'm going to leave them on. I'll put them the other way. So once again, moving forward, checking out Vecna's accessories and weapons. This is the only one he comes with. Check that out, man. That's another cool looking accessory, just like that He-Man Demon Shield. So they're calling this the Grandfather Clock of Time, I believe. See, the Hellfire thing going on. It's just a staff. That's pretty neat, I gotta say. So the whole idea of this, from what I read, so if you go back to the character Henry Creel, right, who became Vecna in the Upside Down world, and of course the Stranger Things show, obviously, the clock, or the symbol of the grandfather clock, also links to time that was identified Vecna. It was an object. Trying to remember. It was an object from the home of which the Creels, the family, which is linked to Henry Creel's hatred of time and the way humans have used it to control nature. So that's what I read on it, and that's the whole idea of this. And then, of course, turn into a weapon in the Hellfire, the fire thing. But again, it's a really wild-looking accessory to add with this Vecna figure. And then, of course, I put that Grandfather Clock of Time in Vecna's hands. Quick look at that setup, pretty neat. He does have the articulation to hold it with both hands. It's just something you gotta kind of adjust or mess around with. There you go. Otherwise, it looks really bent. I found it easier to put the lower part in this larger hand, and then the smaller gripping hand on the right side. That's what would hold it. Put it the other way. I don't know. I had a hard time with it. Or you can hold it with one hand. So once again, bringing He-Man back into the picture. Of course, we had to have the grand finale and show He-Man battling Vecna with all the weapons in hand. All right, quick look at that. It's pretty cool battle going on. I like the colors, like the overall setup with both figures, and just the whole idea of the story concept. And now taking a look at a couple comparisons. So of course there's a Demogorgon from the Stranger Things, Master Universe Origins first pack, we'll call it, against Vecna from this new second pack. So let's look at those two together. And again, you can see he has different legs. And I guess if you want to mix parts, you kind of could. The colors are a little off. He's a lot lighter. He's a lot darker. What I do want to do is let me try the heads on each body and see what that looks like. So, of course, I put the Demogorgon head, right, on the Vecna body. Quick look at that. Yeah, I guess it kind of work. And the colors are off. I like it with this armor on. You can always change the Beastman armor over and stuff like that if you wanted to. But how's the articulation? You can't do too much with it with this body because it gets hindered with the bone collar and the armor. But if you want to use this head on this type of body and armor, if you want to change the other one around, you could do that. So there's a quick look at that. That's pretty cool. I guess it could work. And then there's Vecna's head on the Demogorgon body. So yeah, the colors are really off. I mean, can work. But this armor, even with that neck, is a little better. If you took this armor off, it's still very hindered because of these tendrils coming off his head. As far as the articulation, if you even pull the armor down, still it's a little better. But if you wanted to customize and mix body parts around, again, I'm just giving you an example. You can mix armors and stuff around. I don't know. I kind of like this head on the other body and vice versa, just because of the colors. But it is possible. And for the last comparison, of course, I brought in the Stranger Things He-Man against the Stranger Things Skeletor. Will come in those packs. So a quick look at those together. And the Skeletor once again has the vintage inspired colors, but he has a wash too as well, which I realized later. But I do like the armor on this one. Yeah, the head sculpt. Just different look. That fire effect did not come with him. I bought that. That's come off another action figure. It's pretty cool. Just wrapped around his arm. Gives him a magic effect, energy effect. And that's pretty much it. He did come with a different power sword. I have it on another Skeletor. And this one, this was a half sword. I just put it back. Because he comes with an open hand. I wish he'd come with two closed hands, and he didn't. So we can hold two weapons. And that's about it. Just, I gotta say, pretty cool. I do like the two different tones of both of these figures. Alright, so that about does it. And that's my overall review on the new Master Universe Origins Stranger Things He-Man versus Vecna 2-pack, which is a Target exclusive. So start checking your Targets now. If you ordered online, they're shipping now. Yeah, I gotta say, it's cool to get another He-Man, and he's the different tone with the color tones on him now. It's really growing on me. Some of it's just a little bit too much, I think, on certain arms, but again, it's dark. It's a darker looking version of He-Man, and I'm gonna put him on my Battle Cat now. He's gonna be my front center He-Man, I think. I like the color of the armor, the weapons, and even like the newer accessories. This Demon Shield, that's just really stands out. The hair, a little bit of white in the eyes, it brings him up to a whole nother level. So yeah, it grew on me a lot, with the colors. And then the most impressive piece or figure, I think, is Vecna, right? Did a good job on him, even though he's a mix of parts. I like this clock staff thing. That's just, again, stands out like the Demon Shield on He-Man. I love this spider armor that can come off and be its own weapon, or the accessory, whatever you want to call it. He's just sharing parts again with the mutated Mossman. Tentacles, I like the job on the head, the paint. I kind of wish they would have left the paint very identical to the Demogorgon in the background. It's close, and you could swap heads around. It looks okay, and you could swap armor pieces around. I didn't do that because it's basically the same buck and body. They're both it's identical aside. He has a different hand, and he has a regular Beastman hand. The only thing you're gaining inside the colors is just this lower leg, so I don't know if it's worth it. But, you can do that if you wanted to. I just like that head on this body and vice versa because of the colors. That's just me. But aside that, yep, really cool figure. My gripes are the joints are really bad in these figures. Now, I did use that liquid that I showed. It worked on one leg, but the other leg, it's still a problem. So I'm going to have to try a couple more coats. And Vecna's really bad shape in this leg. See that? He just keeps falling. These things fall off very easily. So once you put them on, that too, I might have put a little bit of that stuff in there. Just one of those things. But aside that, it's a cool pack. If you like Stranger Things and you want to mix some weird-looking figures in your Origins collection, I think they did a good job with it, just like they did with the Demogorgon Skeletor. So, again, I appreciate everybody watching. And until next time, take care.